What's happening? We are back. With 98 subscribers, social media influencers, Hawkeye and Jeannie, testing the bounds of reality on an expedition checking out cities, communities, villages, towns, ghost towns, transportation towns, cow towns, rural towns, hotels, motels, casinos, museums, wineries, distilleries, brothels, campgrounds, internment camps, RV parks, dog parks, a dome house, a beach house, a dog beach, Timbuktu, Area 51, Death Valley, their bedroom and some other places of interest to find out what is really going on during the COVID post-pandemic. Episode 121 is about one of the major naval battles in the Pacific Ocean ever. The Battle of Midway was a major naval battle in the Pacific theater of World War II that took place on June 4th to the 7th in 1942, 6 months after Japan's attack on Pearl Harbor and 1 month after the Battle of the Coral Sea. The U.S. Navy under Admiral Nimitz defeated an attacking fleet of the Imperial Japanese Navy north of Midway, inflicting devastating damage on the Japanese fleet. Military historian John Keegan called it the most stunning and decisive blow in the history of naval warfare, while naval historian Craig Simons called it one of the most consequential naval engagements in world history. Luring American aircraft carriers into a trap and occupying Midway was part of an overall barrier strategy to extend Japan's defensive perimeter, in response to the Doolittle air raid on Tokyo. The plan was undermined by faulty Japanese assumptions of the American reaction and poor initial dispositions. Most significantly, American cryptographers were able to determine the date and location of the planned attack, enabling the forewarned U.S. Navy to prepare its own ambush. The Battle of Midway, along with the Guadalcanal campaign, is widely considered a turning point in the Pacific War.
Include 4 aircraft carriers, 7 battleships, 150 support ships, 248 carrier aircraft, and some 15 submarines. The American Armada is substantially smaller. 3 aircraft carriers, 50 support ships, 233 carrier aircraft, 127 land-based aircraft on Midway Island, and 8 submarines, outnumbered nearly 2 to 1. 6 months after Pearl Harbor, this is all that is left of America's Navy. The carriers were not present at the sneak attack.
I understand you've seen a fair share of our floating city here. You know, we have over 4,500 sailors, chiefs, and officers aboard. It's my job to see that they're trained and ready to meet every mission we're called to do. On the USS Midway, the buck stops right here with me. At the end of the day, I'm responsible to the Admiral and ultimately our Commander-in-Chief for everything that takes place on this ship, under some of the most challenging conditions you can imagine. It's a job that allows precious little sleep. In fact, sometimes I catch a few winks up in the island when we're at sea. Being captain really comes down to motivating each of my sailors to do their jobs to the very best of their abilities. From engineering to communications, I have to mold thousands of individuals in the middle of the ocean into a single functioning team. I have to inspire them every day to rise above personal issues, like being away from their families for months at a time. If just one Midway sailor fails, we all fail. I can guarantee you that can turn a few hairs gray.
This is the officer of the deck. The boilers are back online and flight ops years ago.
Thanks, Art. I'll be right up. Being captain of the USS Midway is a brutal job, but it's also the best job of my career because the stakes are as high as the rewards. Imagine commanding an aircraft carrier and being solely responsible for the safety of so many sailors in one of the most dangerous environments you can find anywhere. It's a humbling responsibility, one that I'll value for the rest of my life. Well, I'll have to finish my paperwork here. Flight ops are about to start. I hope you'll think about the extraordinary dedication of my crew as you continue your tour. They make Midway magic every day. Thanks for coming aboard.
Hey, toodaloo, buckaroo.
Uh-oh.
Hey.
He went back to the zombies.
USS Midway is an aircraft carrier, formerly of the United States Navy, the lead ship of her class. Commissioned 8 days after the end of World War II, Midway was the largest ship in the world until 1955, as well as the first U.S. aircraft carrier too big to transit the Panama Canal. She operated for 47 years, during which time she saw action in the Vietnam War and served as the Persian Gulf flagship in 1991's Operation Desert Storm. Decommissioned in 1992, she is now a museum ship at the USS Midway Museum in San Diego, California, and is the only remaining inactive U.S. aircraft carrier that is not an Essex-class aircraft carrier. Final cruise. In August 1991, Midway departed Yokosuka for the last time and returned to Pearl Harbor. There, she turned over with Independence, which replaced Midway as the forward-deployed carrier in Yokosuka. Rear Admiral Joseph Proer and the staff of Carrier Group 1 moved to Independence. Proer was the last admiral to lower his flag on Midway. She then sailed to Seattle for a port visit. There the ship disembarked Tigers, guests of crew members, before making her final voyage to San Diego. Midway was decommissioned at Naval Air Station North Island on April 11, 1992, in a ceremony in which the main speaker was Secretary of Defense Dick Cheney. During decommissioning, Midway, her sailors, and their families were filmed for the movie At Sea, a documentary on carrier life shown only at the Navy Museum in Washington, D.C. The ship was stricken from the Naval Vessel Register on March 17, 1997. On September 30, 2003, ex-Midway began her journey from the Navy Inactive Ship Maintenance Facility, Bremerton, Washington, to San Diego, California, in preparation for use as a museum and memorial. The aircraft carrier was docked in early October at the Charles P. Howard Terminal in Oakland, California, while work proceeded on the Broadway Pier in downtown San Diego. On January 10, 2004, the ship was moored at her final location, where she was opened to the public on June 7, 2004, as a museum. In the first year of operation, the museum had 879,281 visitors, double the expected attendance. On November 11, 2012, a college basketball game between the Syracuse Orange and the San Diego State Aztecs was played on the flight deck. The Orange won, 62-49.
Well, that's because I did the yellow.
The next room that you're going to go into is called the Tactical Flag Community. It's here that we have the heart of the operations of the ship, where I directed the combat operations that started that night, early in the morning, January 17th, 1990. Now, as you walk into the space, try and visualize what it was like early that morning as missiles started.
No choice but to drive Saturn to Kuwait by force.
How you doing?
Good, thanks.
How you doing?
You know, we have over 4,500 sailors.
All information is deemed to be reliable, however not guaranteed. Thank you for watching Hawkeye's videos. Let him know what you think. Leave a comment. Click like, click the black cat to subscribe and be notified when new episodes are available.
Hey, we're back on the flight deck, man.
Under my command is precious, and are more in each one that is lost. Their blood is shed for us, but war, no matter how noble, demands too much of it.
How you doing?
About average. How you doing?
I'm about average.
Good for you. That way?
Around to your right.
All right.
How you
Above
doing?
average.
How you doing? Yeah.
Uh-oh, am I going to be on television?
YouTube.
You too.
Yeah, is that okay?
Yeah, I guess so.
Is this where you tell them cleared for takeoff?
No, not at all.
Oh.
Now that's the catapult officer does that.
Okay, let me get a picture here.
That's good.
Behind the bridge here. So the product of what goes on in here is presented to the people that are operating the ship up on the bridge. That's where we're going to go next after we give you a very boring description about how to navigate out at sea. Okay. Full side comment, there's 3,100 miles of wire on the ship, and you get some of it represented here. This is kind of the junction between the ship's mast.
Line up on some landmark, moving into a port. We have 3 of these, one here, one up on top, one on the starboard wing of the bridge, and they would all call in at the same time at different things they are lining up on, and call in that bearing line where it crosses on the chart. It's good to 100 feet.
That's pretty close.
Who would like to be the captain for the next little bit? Come
on. Well, of course.
whoever volunteers to sit in the captain's chair right there.
Okay. Get up here.
Okay, we've got a new captain for the next little bit.
Captain Hawkeye.
There you go. Okay, now if anything goes wrong in the next, as long as you're in that chair, it's going to be your fault.
I'm in charge, right?
You're in charge. That means it's your fault if something goes really wrong.
All right, no problem.
Okay, this is the navigation bridge forward here, folks, where the windows are. We're looking back. Officer of the deck responsible for operating the ship for that 4-hour period. We keep a logbook and all the unusual, all of the rudder orders, all of the speed order changes are going into the logbook at what time they occurred. At the end of the 4-hour watch, the officer of the deck signs off as saying that certifying all those things happened on his watch. And so we've got accountability. Anything that we need to go over, look up on another ship, and all of our Navy ships maintain a logbook on the bridge. Right? So back here into the powerhouse, where the enlisted men will do all the work anyway, are actually operating. Okay? We've got what's called a skunk board here, which is another set of data. This data has to do with the location and the basic heading and speed and so forth of any of the other contacts out there. There's a watchstander here who mans this up, and he's called the lee helmsman. Right? Over here on the wheel we have the helmsman. Now the lee helmsman and the helmsman switch about every 30 minutes. And the reason is a helmsman works very, very hard, and a lee helmsman doesn't hardly ever have very much to do.
I am the hostess of Hawkeye's Tales and Trails hard-charging pagan woman warrior queen, Califia. Adios muchachos, ye muchachas, catch you on down by the beach. I was told to mention that as of this time, Stray Cat LLC, Stray Cat Productions, Hawkeye, Jeannie or myself Califia, have not been paid from any entity or any other business that has been seen on any of the episodes. So, what that means is that they are not making any money. Hopefully this will change. Please subscribe. For some reason, I still get paid. Thank you to History Channel. So, alright.
Well,